Batteries in cars may not seem at first to be the more important element to the vehicle. But when it comes to the electric car world, it's a different story. Not the least of which is because of how electric cars run solely off of batteries so that they cannot give off any pollution. However, for the longest time, the batteries that were used for these cars weren't powerful enough to really make a difference. But now, not only is that changing, but companies like Tesla and their partners at Panasonic are changing the game with their new battery models. Allow us to show you how Tesla's insane new battery, 4680 battery, destroys the industry.
You're watching Tech Binge.
The newer, better, and cheaper battery. Battery technology is constantly evolving, and the latest advancement comes from Panasonic, which revealed a prototype of its new 4680 battery cell. Automotive News reports that the advanced technology battery is due to power future Teslas, saying the 4680 batteries will have 5 times the storage capacity of current Tesla battery packs and will cost 50% less to build. This is the first time Panasonic has unveiled the 4680 battery. Tesla's earnings report issued earlier in October said it was testing battery packs using the 4680 cells. Panasonic constructed a test line for the new format earlier this year. 4680 refers to the battery's dimensions: 46 millimeters, 1.6 inches wide, by 80 millimeters, 3.1 inches tall. Tesla claims that there will be a 100-fold increase in battery production by 2030 thanks to the new battery type, and that the new cell design produces 6 times the power of current cells. Tesla is one of the only automakers using cylindrical cells, and the additional energy capacity of the new 4680 cell isn't magic. It's simply a lot larger than the current ones Tesla employs. On a purely volume basis, the 4680 is 5.5 times larger than the 2170 cells currently used in the Model 3 and Y battery packs, and 8 times larger than the 18650 cells used in the Model S and X. The 18650 is slightly larger than a typical AA battery. The head of Panasonic's battery operations, Kazu Tadanobu, said at the meeting, "We have developed this because of the strong desire of the other party, and we think this can only lead to stronger ties." Panasonic has a battery manufacturing plant in Nevada supplying the Tesla Gigafactory. According to Electric, Tesla claims that the first vehicles with the 4680 battery cells will be delivered next year. Tadanobu also said that Panasonic does not intend to build cheaper lithium iron phosphate (LFP) batteries for standard-range Teslas, even though Tesla's report said the company plans to start using those in its standard-range vehicles worldwide. Along with building the 4680 batteries for Tesla, Panasonic will also supply batteries to American electric startup Canoo, which recently announced an agreement with the Japanese Electronics Corporation. The batteries will power the lifestyle vehicle that Canoo predicts will begin production in the fourth quarter of 2022, with Dutch contractor VDL Nedcar building the van-like vehicle for the European and American markets. Canoo said they chose the Panasonic batteries, which will not be the Tesla-specific 4680 format, for their proven reliability. Canoo is claiming a range of 250 miles from an 80 kilowatt-hour battery, with the base panel van version starting at $34,750. The competition speaks. Tesla bets on a new 4680 type cylindrical cell format, but according to Lucid's CEO/CTO, Peter Rawlinson, it will not be this huge breakthrough. In an interesting IEEE Spectrum article, Peter Rawlinson noted that the larger format and new design has some advantages, including reduced internal resistance and higher volumetric energy density, but it's better packaging rather than a breakthrough chemistry. But even that 4680 appears a triumph of packaging, not of chemistry, with its tightly packed jelly rolls that allow more active cell material versus its surrounding casing. "I do think there's an upside to going to large format," he says. "That would reduce internal resistance, and that's a valuable step forward. But people are looking at 4680 as this huge breakthrough, and that's a fantasy." However, according to Tesla, the 4680 type and structural battery pack will allow it to increase capacity/range by 30%, 16% from cell design, and 14% from vehicle integration, without a new chemistry. So yeah, who's in the right here? Well, as in many things, we'll just have to wait and see how it all goes. Because the big things for companies like Tesla and Lucid is to have the best batteries around so that they can go and not just make better cars, but cheaper cars. If these batteries are able to help increase range and be cheaper to make, that'll lower the price of the car. And that is why so many, like Lucid, might be trying to talk down this potential revolutionary battery, because they know it'll spell trouble for the competition. Truly valuable batteries. It's easy to go and look at what the batteries will do for electric cars and see their importance. But there is even more value in the batteries that you might not be seeing. In particular, the extremely long life of batteries soon to hit the market are likely to mean the batteries hold their value well enough to be resold when owners trade in their cars, possibly for use storing solar electricity for homes. And the next-gen batteries' long lives may let them be used in ride-sharing businesses that demand cars that can take the pounding of a near-continuous use. If you're talking about batteries that can last twice as long for the same price, it completely changes the math for the consumer, says Wedbush Securities analyst Dan Ives. Iron phosphate batteries are safer, and they can have second or third lives as electricity storage. That's multiple business ventures right there for Tesla and whoever else can make these batteries and have them live up to this potential. As such, getting these into cars and into homes could very much spark a revolution in terms of power usage and what powers homes, businesses, and more. And that's not to say that Tesla isn't taking the chemistry route. They're looking for all sorts of ways to improve battery power. The science of new batteries. There's a lot going into the process of making new batteries. The key thing here is the science and chemistry of making them and making them work. Because to someone on the outside, it might be as easy as thinking, oh, they just swap in one chemical for another. But it's rarely ever that simple, especially when it comes to batteries. Shirley Meng, a materialist scientist and professor at the University of California, San Diego, who directs the school's Sustainable Power and Energy Center, said efforts to reduce the use of cobalt have been ongoing for a few decades already. And Tesla has made significant strides in doing just that. But Meng said one of the major advantages of building batteries with cobalt is how easily it allows complex chemical structures to be engineered. If I had to train a high school student to make a battery, cobalt makes it easy. It always works. Without cobalt, the synthesis process gets much more sophisticated, she said. Lithium iron phosphate, meanwhile, has never proved to be efficient in the space constraints of an electric car. It was originally designed for the grid storage market due to its energy density profile. But its chemistry is suited to fast charging and cost efficiency because it does not rely on cobalt. According to Tesla, vehicles with lithium-ion batteries, also used in cell phones, are expected to give way over the next few years to cars and trucks made with lithium iron phosphate and other chemistries. This will cut costs, extend vehicle ranges to 400 miles or more between charges, and enable batteries to last as long as 1 million miles, which is 5 times longer than what most standard gas-powered cars could ever hope to get with their engines at times. So when you mix the larger batteries that Panasonic is making with the new chemistry batteries that Tesla is working on getting going, that's 2 different batteries that can help change the game. Better batteries, better cars. In the end though, no matter which battery comes out and stands out from the crowd, the result will hopefully be the same. In this case, making better electric cars for people to not just drive, but afford. And the better electric cars get, the more will come to accept them over gas-powered cars, and thus slowly grow the user base so that we can go and get things done in terms of limiting the pollutants of cars. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the new upcoming batteries from Tesla/Panasonic and how they will change the industry when they're put into cars? Do you think that this really will be a major step forward for the electric car industry? Or do you agree with their competition in that they aren't really a big step forward? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.